What's going on, everyone? I know a bunch of you guys absolutely crushed it in the markets today. For tomorrow, we have even more great setups on the way, and we're also going to talk about the recent inflation report in a way that nobody else is, in some very important things to keep in mind over the next couple weeks and months. This is actually very important. On top of that, towards the end of the video, we have a $2.6 million big money trade that you won't want to miss. But all in all, we have a great video for everyone today. Tom will not be with us. He's on a flight right now, but we're still going to have a great episode. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So looking at the market right now, it was kind of choppy today, but some stocks just had some amazing moves, and a lot of this has to do with the inflation report that we saw at market open. Basically, we've been talking about this all week, and essentially, inflation is like the Federal Reserve and just the government's main enemy right now, and the government is at war with this crazy spike in inflation that we are still seeing to today. And essentially, the last inflation report came in at 3.2%. And today's inflation report came in at 3.7%, which is a pretty big uptick. But nonetheless, we were expecting an uptick anyways, but it was only expected to be at around 3.6%. So long story short, inflation was a little bit hotter than everyone was expecting. And basically what we've been seeing over the past couple months is a pretty steady decline in the inflation rate. Whether you're looking at the normal inflation rate or you're just looking at the core inflation rate, inflation has been calming down a little bit, but the job is not done yet, and there's still a huge war that we're in right now, figuratively speaking, against inflation. What's very scary is you can see that we're starting to see a couple upticks right here with inflation. And this is not something we've seen in a while, and I promise you it's not a good thing. And if you need any proof of that, just go to a chart of the S&P 500, zoom out a little bit, and look what happened in 2022. And especially when you look at individual stocks, it gets a whole lot worse. But, back to the data, essentially we're seeing inflation start to come up. And of course, it's not a good thing, but more specifically what we're seeing is basically gas prices drive that increase. So if we go to, let's say, the table right here, we can see that for the month of August, the biggest group that has caused the most inflation is the energy group. Gas prices are rising, and it is definitely having a very big impact on this inflation report. Now, where it starts to get scary is we have some people basically saying, oh, don't worry about it, gas prices will go back down and everything will be all sunshine and rainbows, right? And there's just some idiot analysts trying to spread that message, but there's a very key risk right in front of us in the market. So if we go to, let's say, a chart of crude oil futures, we can see that gas prices have been running up in a pretty big way over the past couple months. And on top of that, the U.S. gas reserves, we can say, are falling more and more and more each day. So this time, if gas prices rise like they did in 2022, the government can't really just come in and, flood the market with supply, which is causing a very big risk. So overall, what we have going on right now is inflation heating up, and, it's really putting the Federal Reserve in a tough situation, even the government as well. Now, looking at the market right now, there are some key risks to the downside, and, I don't love to be super bearish or anything like that, but, when I see something, I'm going to say it how it is. So basically, we are seeing some weakness in the market right now. We are heading into where we are in a seasonally weak period of the year. September is the worst month for the stock market, but even more specifically, normally like the last couple weeks of September are where most of the losses, or selling pressure, I should say, come into play. So it's definitely worth keeping in mind. The market is weakening a little bit right here. And some stocks specifically are struggling a lot more than others, like Netflix as a prime example. This stock got punched right in the face today, basically as the CFO of Netflix spoke at a Bank of America conference and basically was like, you know what, we're actually seeing a lot of people sign up for this ad-related Netflix tier, and to be honest with you guys, we're not really making that much money from it, you know? And investors were like, wait, what do you mean? Like, what's going on here? Because, you know, basically as Netflix subscribers were falling over the past year, the management at Netflix was basically like, you know what? We're going to fix this and we're going to offer a cheaper ad-supported tier. And investors were like, all right, I kind of like that idea. Let's see how it goes. But now we're starting to get like a little bit of a reality check, and we're like, hold on, like, you know, it's all right if we do this ad-supported tier, but let's at least make some decent money from it, right? But that hasn't been the case, at least so far. And the stock did not like that at all. Netflix got punched right in the face. It fell by 5% today. Bears are in control of this stock right now, and it's just a stock you have to watch going forward. The selling pressure was, it didn't stop all day long. I'll say that. And this next part of the video, some of you will not believe. I know a lot of you guys who watch our channel regularly hear us talk about our premium portion of the Discord and our bots and stuff like that. And today was one of the best days our bot has ever had. Basically, our bot caught this Netflix move before it happened. It alerted Netflix put options, the 430 strike puts, at $380 each. And like I said, some of you guys are not going to believe me here, but by the end of the day, these same put options were trading for $1,950. $380 to almost $2,000 in one day on one play. Guys, the action with these bots has been very, very great, and they just get smarter and smarter and smarter over time. If you guys want to try out the bots, check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. You get access to Sniper Bot, Hybrid Bot, SM Bot. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long. We have premium selling strategies. We have unusual options, multi-million-dollar trades. Like, we have basically everything you could need for short-term trading. The bots have just been crushing it, and we're also going to see plays that go from $380 all the way up to basically $2,000 in one day. It was absolutely insane. You guys got to get in on this action. But on another note, there's more we have to talk about related to the market. So if we look a little bit in depth at the market, we can see that it's been somewhat tame, right? There hasn't been like an overwhelming amount of, let's say craziness to the extent of like 2020 and stuff like that. But there's also some opportunity associated with this. So check this out. Basically what we're seeing right now is the number of consecutive trading days without a 2% absolute move. Basically what we're seeing right now is, a lack of a 2% move to the extent that we have not seen since 2017. This is the second largest streak of basically little movement, we'll say, in the market since 2007. So basically what I'm saying right now is that what we're seeing in the market right now with lack of movement on a day-to-day basis is historically rare, and it is the longest streak since 2017. And basically what this means is at some point, we're going to start to see some insane, we're going to start to see some action, right? I'll say that. And, when you have a 2% move in stocks, that can easily equate to hundreds of percentage moves in the options. And, looking at this data, it's just a matter of time before that next 2% or higher move happens, right? This doesn't just have to be a 2% move. It could be a 5% move. It could be a 7% move. It's coming, and historically speaking, you would think it's coming pretty soon. So with that being said, it's just another thing to keep in mind as the market is heading into, or is in the worst month of the year, and as we have inflation slowly and kind of suspiciously heating up, especially with the way oil is moving right now. So keep that in mind as well. We're going to see some craziness pretty soon. But with that being said, let's jump right into the fun stuff today, which are the setups for tomorrow. Stock I'm watching very, very closely right now is SQQQ. So SQQQ basically explodes when tech stocks and the NASDAQ are tanking. I believe that the risk-to-reward setup on NASDAQ and just SQQQ right now is pretty favorable. The way we're seeing Netflix fall, as well as some other key influential stocks in the market right now move, they're not necessarily the strongest ever. On top of that, the inflation report wasn't like the end of the world by any means, but it definitely wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, I'll say that. And if we do see a break to the downside, I do think it will be with more momentum than we've seen previously this year. So for that reason, I am watching SQQQ to the upside for tomorrow and the rest of the week, and probably even next week. For my technical traders out there who, of the technicals, we are seeing SQQQ also form higher lows, which is a pretty bullish sign. So keep that in mind as well. But this stock can move pretty quickly, especially when the selling pressure comes into play. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is WEAT. We are seeing some commodities move to the upside in a major way right now, like sugar and like even orange juice, believe it or not. But with wheat right now, this moves a lot based off of like Russia and Ukraine war tensions. And on top of that, inflation itself plays a role into the price of wheat and stuff like that. Basically right now, wheat is at a historically low point. It initially had a huge run-up back when Russia invaded Ukraine, but since that point, it has just been slowly, or I should say, not too slowly, dying off, right? It's actually been a pretty nasty sell-off. But looking at the market right now and looking at wheat, it's right around the $6 price point. Its recent highs are close to 13, and I believe that this is making for a pretty good setup. I do like this to the upside, but I will also say this is not necessarily a play to hold for 10 minutes and get out of. It's more of a play that is best to be held for, a couple weeks or months at a time if you do decide to play it. I like it for like a stop loss, maybe like under like 565, potential profit target around 690 or even like 750. I just think the risk reward setup's pretty solid, and I think it's a stock worth watching pretty closely going forward. With that being said, let's jump right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have the powerhouse NVIDIA. And I don't even know if I should say this because I know I'm going to get some hate in the comments down below for this one, but to the downside. So looking at NVIDIA right now, today was a decent day for it, but it wasn't overly strong in either direction. Right now, it's lingering right around that $455 level, and if it has a break below $451.90 or so, I will like it to the downside tomorrow for puts. With the next one, we have CCJ to the upside, and this is actually a uranium stock. This is a stock that I do own for the long term, and I believe it has some pretty great potential going forward for the long term. But even for the short term, it has been moving in a pretty great way. If it can break above the $39.45 level, I will like this one for calls. This one doesn't necessarily have all the fame that some other stocks have, like NVIDIA and Tesla and Netflix and Apple and all that, but this stock does have some pretty solid moves, so just keep a close eye on it. And with the last one, we have Meta for both directions. If this one breaks below the $303.75 level, I like it for puts. If it rips above the $307.15 level, I like it for calls. This one normally has some pretty good opportunities for short-term trades. So those are the momentum plays for today. And it's now time for probably my favorite part of the video, and that is the big money trade of the day. And today we are looking at ticker symbol SE. Basically, someone plowed $2.66 million into the SE 40 strike call options that expire on October 13th of 2023. This stock has gotten, I don't even know how to describe this. It is taking an absolute beating over these past couple months. It fell from like $90 a share all the way down to like 35, and it's starting to like slowly get up after the beating. You could say that. And basically someone is jumping in right here with a lot of money, and I don't blame them at all, and I actually really like this setup. This stock has all-time highs right around $375 a share that it made in October of 2021. Right now, it's all the way down to 39. It's at historically low levels. And basically, someone bought the 40 strike call options that expire on October 13th. I like the setup. The call options are pretty close to the money. There is some time to them. They have a huge gap to fill in the event that this recovery is good. And overall, it's just a pretty good risk to reward setup, in my opinion. I love following big money, in this case, $2.6 million trades, because it's not like someone's just randomly buying these call options for no reason, right? Like, there's reason for it. Otherwise, they would not be putting almost $3 million into this trade. So either way, this is a stock I will be watching very closely going forward. And I also will say that, we cover big money, multi-million dollar trades in every single video. And this one is among my favorites recently. So if that means anything, keep that in mind. But either way, keep a close eye on this going forward. And if you guys want to follow, legit hedge fund trades every single day, make sure to subscribe to the channel. When you do, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. It takes us hours to make these videos, and in every single video, we cover multi-million dollar trades, we cover important news, and some great setups for the next day, right? We keep everyone updated, and, normally less than 20 minutes. But with everything being said right now, the market is at a pretty interesting point, and the inflation data today, I really think, will be pretty pivotal going forward. While it is not world-changing headlines, while there weren't world-changing headlines from it, of course, I do think that people are going to be more and more worried and in some ways skeptical going forward of these inflation reports because, basically we have the media and some other, we'll say, people in government saying, oh, don't worry about it. This is just, everything's going to be all sunshine and rainbows. Inflation will come down and we're all going to be happy and everyone's going to live happily ever after. But the real data is coming in pretty different, and especially over the past month, we are starting to see some pretty big spikes in inflation, and a lot of that has to do with energy prices. So I'm telling you, if gas prices don't chill out, the market can really, really struggle going forward. So it's just kind of like a black swan event to, keep on your radar going forward. But for the short term, there's still going to be a ton of opportunity. Today was an absolutely amazing day for so many of our regular Stocked Up viewers. I know so many of you absolutely hit it out of the park with this Netflix put play. Literally went from $380 all the way up to almost $2,000. So like I said, if you guys want to get in on that action, definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. You can cancel at any time, worst case scenario. And while we're in the Discord, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, which is Amped Up. He had a great day with the bot, so awesome job and keep it up. Hopefully I see some more posts like this going forward. But all in all, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and let's have an amazing end to the week.